everything goes back to the zodiac. It really does, because the zodiac in the sky is where it all comes from. Words, everything. All right. One of the oldest words for money is bullion. That word comes from bull and lion. What bull are we talking about? Taurus the bull in the sky and Leo the lion in the sky. A lot of people still haven't realized yet that the zodiac signs are not just for, oh, I'm a Leo, I like to, do things, and I get offended by this, and I don't get along with Scorpios, or it's not just about that, okay? It is, there's far more going on. Those zodiac signs are actually happening in the sky. You can see them. You can look up and see the signs. So if you looked out at the eastern horizon on the spring equinox, so depending on what day that is, it depends on where you live. However, the spring equinox is around March 21st. If you look out at the eastern horizon right before the sun comes up and you're staring at the horizon, in that direction, you're going to stare at a constellation. And whatever constellation you're staring at on that day is the age that we are in. And those ages change approximately every 2,126 years. So each one of these signs you'll be looking at on the spring equinox for 2,100 years. And then that sign will change to the next sign. See, right now we are in Pisces heading towards Aquarius. So when people say, oh, we're already in Aquarius, we're not. And you can just go outside on the spring equinox and look up, and you can see it with your own eyes. So another thing that a lot of people aren't realizing is, again, all of our stories and all of our history and all of this stuff, it comes from the zodiac. Okay, why? In my belief, I believe that before we're born, we pass through all of these celestial bodies, okay? The last one you pass through is Saturn or Satan, and Saturn clears everything. It's a veil, which is why Saturn or Satan or Kronos or El, that deity is known as, he's known as the enforcer. He is the one that enforces rules. He is known as the inhibitor. Why? Because he inhibits you from remembering that veil. Okay, and until that veil is lifted, you're not going to remember. And that's the point. That is the whole entire object of Saturn. It erases your memory in this new life here on Earth. So I believe that we pass through these celestial bodies, our spirit, our soul, before it enters into a new baby. And that is why some people are born with full memories of a previous life, because something went wrong when their soul or their spirit passed through that planet, okay? Which is why a lot of these, these signs and all of this information is super accurate. A lot of it is very accurate. When you do a natal chart and you start really getting into more accurate stuff, it's very accurate, because it's all, as the saying goes, as above, so below. So if you're interested in learning this type of stuff, I just wrote 2 books. One is on ancient belief systems, where religion came from. The other one is on symbols. The 3rd book I'm working on it right now. It's called Deception in the Modern World. And it's all about all of the deception. NASA, where it came from. NASA, that word, okay, it goes back. The etymology for that word means beguiled, which means to deceive. Okay, a lot of people say, oh, it's not that. The word is Nawshaw, Nashaw. It's not NASA. No, Nashaw is the pronunciation. That's not how it's spelled. Okay, it's spelled in the older etymology. When you go back, it's NASA or Nasash, NASA or Nassau, the pronunciation. So people like to say, oh no, it's Nawsah, or that again is the pronunciation. That's not the spelling. So the word NASA goes back to the word beguiled, and it means to deceive, to lead astray. So let's start to understand this. Now, NASA's first mission, what is it? It's called it was Mercury. Why was it Mercury? It's pretty obvious to me. Mercury is the base layer, the foundation for alchemy. What's alchemy? It's transmuting the human mind. Transmuting the mind, getting a mind to go from one set of beliefs to another. Complete transmutation, okay? It's turning a liquid into a gas. It's a transmutation. Now, Mercury, again, that's the first ingredient. It's the most important ingredient. So, of course, NASA, the first mission is going to be Mercury. They have to start to build a foundation for alchemy, to transmute the mind. Now, this is another reason why when you look up who discovered nuclear, because we have nuclear weapons. Who discovered the stuff that we needed to have nuclear weapons? Well, that woman's name is Mary Curie, and she discovered radiation, or radon. So why is this interesting? Because the woman, if it wasn't for this woman discovering radon, we wouldn't have nuclear power. And what is her name? It's Mary Curie. I mean, say that 3 times fast. Mary Curie, Mary Curie, Mary Curie, Mercury. Her name is Mercury. So the woman that is credited for discovering radiation, so how we create nuclear weapons, her name is Mercury when you say it fast. That's fishy to me, a little bit fishy. Again, why? Because they are transmuting the minds of the people here on Earth. How do we do that? Base layer, Mercury. Okay, now how else do we get Mercury? Because it's not just put in as a base layer on organizations and ideas. It's also put in as a base layer inside of our body, as above so below. And what is one of the ingredients in a lot of these vaccines that we get? I'm not going to say it, but you know where I'm going with that. Why do they do that? In my opinion, it's because they need to get that base layer and to build a foundation. Now, I could talk about this forever, because alchemy it's a real thing. I mean, chemistry now was alchemy back then. So alchemy, which is breaking something down and then rebonding it and remarrying it and building it back up to be the most potent it can be. And then you have chemistry, which is breaking something down. So alchemy is the earlier version of chemistry. They were using alchemy back then to do all sorts of stuff. I mean, if you think about what alchemy is, well, it can be as basic as transmuting a mind all the way to just making a pot in a flame-kissed oven, So all of these people back then, these alchemists, that's how they started. They were using fire and making pots and doing things like that. And then this idea of turning lead into gold came a thing. That's a whole story. And there's a million different stories about the alchemists trying to turn lead into gold. But in my opinion, what really is going on with alchemy, it's the transmutation of the mind. It's freeing your mind from the poison and the lies and the toxicity that we have in this world that is only here to deceive you, to lead you astray, and so that you never learn what you are truly capable of. That is the purpose. So if you are interested in any of this stuff, and remember, this is my opinion based on a lot of the stuff that I read and my beliefs. So if you like this stuff, you can find me at my website, With the Sun 33. I got a couple books on there, tons of free information. I love you all, and of course, this is for entertainment.